Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome to another Supreme Commander Epic. It's going to be 4v4 business this afternoon, and you know what? It's absolutely terrible, but I can't remember it. No, it's Team 4v4, so it's 4v4 ladder. None of this custom business. And it's going to be featuring an eclectic mix of pros and more pros. Yes, high skill game on the way for your viewing pleasure today. And the best news is there's no news, so we can go straight to that action, which is going down on Adaptive Monument Valley. We've been here a few times before, and we will go into it anyway, just for those who are new to the channel or those with poor memories like myself. First of all, let's give them some time and make our introductions to the teams. This is going to be Team 1 up here at the top right. This is going to be Team 2 down here at the bottom left. Going first for Team 1, rearguard air position in Halle Orange. We've got Mimics going Aeon. Terribly sensible decision for an air player. Opening first land. Team member number 2, and onto the front row now in Burgundy Red to begin with. It's Zoom, another Aeon. He's going first land. Middle of the pack on the front line in Dijon Yellow is Taffy, our first UEF of the day. He's going first land. And last but not least, down here on the right-hand side for Team 1, another Aeon in Ferrari Red, this time going first land. It is Gibbo, or Gib80. It looks like Gibbo to me. I'm going to call him Gibbo because it makes me nostalgic for an old friend that I don't see anymore. Pretend it's him. Anyway, so that's 3 Aeons and a UEF there for Team 1. Let's check out Team 2 now down here at the bottom left-hand corner in this season's fabulous Vivacious Violet. Going Aeon, how terribly sensible for an air player opening first land. It's everybody's favourite Russian, which is admittedly a small shortlist. It's slow. There it is. He's one of the good ones. We definitely know that. Why? Because he's a fan of strategy and so therefore cannot be in the Kremlin camp assisting Putin. Anyway, on to the front line now for Team 2 in Electric Blue. It's, oh god, Boho Nakokte, or Boho Nacho Kote. I'm going to call him Bo for obvious reasons. He's going, that's probably a really famous like anime character or something else from some other genre of entertainment I'm too old to appreciate. But anyway, he's Cybran. He's going Electric Blue and he's opening first land. In the center for Team 2 in Cyanide Cyan, it's Arane, our first and only Seraphim of the day. He's going first and second land. And last but not least, over here, another Aeon. Lots of Aeons today. It's Chicken Ass A, or Chicken Arse if you're from the UK, or Chicken Bottom if you're from the UK and you shop at Waitrose. There he is. Anyway, he's going first land. There you go. That's a little gag for the homegrown team, one that only the Brits here will appreciate, and some not even there. So what have we got here? A little bit of lab play coming in on the right-hand side. A couple of Mech Marines coming down from Taffy, coming to spread that UEF love. Yes, so sorry, it's 2 Aeons, a Seraphim, and a Cybran there for Team 2. That first Mech Marine, little hobo, going to run into Bo. How terribly appropriate. He's going to massacre him. And unless the other Mech Marine changes direction, the same fate will befall him. It looks like he's deviated somewhat and heading slightly to his right, which is, of course, our left, and making a play for Irani's base. Is there any ground forces on the scene? There's one Tham that's just rolled on out. Oh, look, a chariot with a bunch of engineers and I think one lab on board. That's been spotted by a couple of early inties which have come to this southwest corner belonging to Mimics, and recognizing the threat in good time, Zlo offloads all of the cargo onto the ground, and those 5 NGs and that flare will make it to safety. Alas, not the same fate that was awarded to the chariot. Another chariot up here at the top of the screen, this time for Zoom. Engineer offloaded. Looks like he's doing the world tour of mechs here, dropping an engineer off at each of them. Taking a long time on the next one. Oh no, this one gets 4. Major mass field, of course. We'd spend no time talking about the mass poop. There's tons, actually. Big old clumps here, here, and then in a long band across the center here. A center which on monument value is, of course, very, very open indeed. We've got a couple of hillocks or plateau-y shaped pillars of rock, if you will, standing tall. Shades of Cliffhanger there. Movie I saw it when I was about 12 years old, 10 or 12 years old, and it's still Only to that still stays with me. It probably doesn't hold up anymore. It's been a long time since I've seen it. Probably has lost some of its fear factor, but it is what it is. Another chariot, again from Zlo. I guess he picked up the damage that the engineers that had the chariot, the first chariot, fall on their heads, and as a result, they're down to 20 hit points apiece. But they make it to this little plateau out in the west, and he's just full-on setting up shop here. One over here, another couple down here to start a land factory. This guy's probably on reclaim detail, I would imagine. Back over to the center. So Taffy and Arane for the mids have both moved into the center. Arane still holding the mids, this barren, featureless void that it is, whereas Taffy skewed off to his left, our right, and is throwing down a T1 PD next to this couple of mass points, which he's also going to take, but it might not be a stronghold for long. Bo moving up with his commander. He's also got some T1 support moving in on the ground here, although T1 support, which will be supremely vulnerable to that point defense. We haven't got... Oh, I beg your pardon, we do. One Zui lurking in amongst Arane's forces there, so we do have some nice unit composition. Not that it might actually be needed, as Bo could just walk in here and take care of business. He's breached the wall at least. Taken some fire. That's knocked him down to 8,400. He says, yeah, I don't like the look of that. The Zui's going to come forward, but Taffy's also bringing the commander in. Can he dispatch the Zui before the Zui kills off the point defense? Yes, he can. He got 2 volleys away. That leaves the PD on about 640 hit points. What's going on over on the top left of the map? Zoom advancing with his comm. We've also got Arane, who has drifted away from the center to cover this approach. So Chicken and Arane covering this left-hand side in tandem. Zoom advancing. He's going to take down a mass point here and kill off a few NGs, maybe some units also into the bargain. Oh, he's actually... I thought that was going to be a land factory queued up for Team 2, but no, that was one of his that he was planning to build there. Plans have been disrupted. He has to turn his focus onto the Auroras. Long stream of units coming down this right-hand side, meanwhile, and Gibbo moved up with his commander and has started a T2 upgrade in what is borderline hostile territory, but there's nothing too scary on the field down on this bottom right-hand corner from Team 2, so he's broadly safe, although that would be a Ghetto gunship which has discovered him. Gibbo doesn't need to worry about cancelling as his upgrade is almost complete. He goes straight for a T1 anti-air turret, which of course completes almost instantly. As a result, that Ghetto gunship is going to have to bug out. Nice to see a little bit of Ghetto gunship there, although perhaps a little bit late to the party. What's going on here though? Zoom, who moved up with virtually no support, finds himself under fire from Chicken, who's also rolling up with tons of T1 spam, and Zoom already into the red. I think this is going to be our first ejection from the game. 400, 300, 200, boom! Down he goes. And the top left-hand corner will forever remain his tomb. Is it really a tomb if you've been ionized in nuclear fire? Not really. Unless you like things flat and glassy. So is that the same Ghetto gunship? I think it is. Took a little bit of heat from that tracer down there at the bottom right-hand corner. Or was it a tracer? No, it wasn't. Excuse me. Gibbo, of course, rocking the Aeon today. That was a Seeker. Not that that makes a blind bit of difference. Ghetto gunship offloads its labs. And then those labs get cooked by that thing getting shot down on top of their heads once again. For their trouble, our ground units waiting for them, so no real play made there by Zlo. Another Ghetto gunship inbound. He's loving these. How long he's going to carry up that strat as we approach 10 minutes. Anti-aircraft fire all over the map now. For those of you who don't know, Ghetto gunship, the labs on board of a transport, fire out as they cruise over things. Can't directly target things, but they will pick their own targets from on board the transport. It's effective in the very early game as more and more toys are produced. Effectiveness drops off a cliff. Fighters mimic late to get their kill orders. Again, he's able to drop off those labs before the chariot gets shot down. As a result, labs able to join in on the ground party. But look at this. There I was saying Zoom was getting aggressive. Chicken finds himself all the way at the top of the map, currently dispatching land factories that were erected in great number here for Mimics. He was really looking to turn this top left-hand corner into a major manufacturing hub, and I actually kind of like that, because if you've got a lot of firepower coming out of this top left-hand corner, probably don't need to expend an awful lot in the center. That's going to be broadly covered by your teammates. But as it stands, a lot of counter pressure coming in the other direction. We saw those land factories being placed earlier for Zlo. He's now got 3 of them and an air factory. Number of factories over here increasing for Chicken also. So this is going to be a win, I think, in the top left-hand corner for Team 2. Chicken just needs to make sure he doesn't throw his comm away. Taking some damage. He's down to about 8,300 hit points. Last of the engineers about to get killed off. That just leaves 4 vulnerable factories to get finished off in that top left-hand corner. What's happening down here in the bottom right, meanwhile? Bo moving up with his comm to finish off some tinfoil auroras from Gibbo. Bo advancing in Bo's direction, but there's a lot of forces down here. I like this little group of factories nestled in on the other side of this rock formation here. Area for Bo to push out from. He's just busy wiping out this civilian compound in true Cybran fashion, no mercy. Go. Or UEF structures that they are, civilians. Taffy with a gun upgrade on his comm. Oh, getting hit by some mercies, and in case you weren't aware, these are upgraded mercies, depending on your point of view. Mercy changes came in recently. 2 strong and finishing off commanders. Been a bone of contention for years, apparently. Thanks to Captain Klux for running me through the changes on my Discord server earlier. Shout out to him, with my supporting chaps and chapettes. But yes, the new changes, I'm sure, sparked a lot of controversy. They're now wider AoEs. And they can be quite effective by the looks of things against clumps of tanks. They are not the assassination machines they used to be. That was something you used to love. You were Aeon specialist. Commiserations. I can see the reasoning behind it. Certainly makes sense on paper. Anyway, back to the game. Taffy advancing with his comm. He's now got the T2 engineering suite. He's got gun, but he's only got 7,600 HP, so he needs to be just a little bit careful. Gibbo advancing as well. He's got T2 engineering suite and advanced sensor suite. That's a view from his position. Look at that upgrade. Tons of vision for him and his teammates. Chicken drawing some fire from a gunship or 2. Looks like Mimics has a decent control on the air game in this area of the map. So that's an interesting place to start an upgrade. And cancelled. Yeah. It's always going to be, I think. Oh, almost pushed back to his base here. And he's going to be cut off from his little forward base on the other side of this rock formation. Gibbo will seal this up completely. Might be able to isolate this, and then that'll be the bottom right-hand corner secured for their team, which is something they could really do, considering Team 2 have managed to secure the top left-hand corner. Team 1 could definitely do with holding on, or grabbing that, I should say. Haven't had a moment piece to talk about the eco situation. Team 2 ahead, 261 to 205. Securing of the top left-hand corner we just mentioned, coming into that. Remind you, if I speak too soon as an air raid kicks off. I think not. One mech gets shot down, but look at all the flak that has been brought into the area by Team 2, by Chicken and Zlo. Hampering Mimic's ability to get anything done there. So Bo has gun, was forced to cancel his stealth upgrade earlier, which is a bit of a pity. That probably would have helped out somewhat, although of course he's unlikely to be aware Gibbo has the advanced sensor suite, so he's going up against these two comms. He'll find himself in a spot of bother if he decides to go for that stealth upgrade again. To trick himself into a false sense of security. Massive base building exercise here, or defensive fortification exercise underway from Bo. 6 T1 PDs with wall sections queued up on those templates. They're facing off against T2 units at the moment. What is that T1 spam? Calm down, says Mimics. Guessing talking about all of this. Unit spam from Chicken in the top left-hand corner. So that's the view from T1. Not quite a 50-50 game as yet. That might change, though, as this T2 Obsidian platoon rolls on, or I should say floats on in for Gibbo. Taking out T1 PDs now in the bottom right-hand corner. No access to T2 tech down here for Bo. Now Bo's going to go for the stealth upgrade, and as he said, that could be... Well, I mean, it's not that it's his fault. Say he's not to know. Can you actually see the enhanced sensor suite on the comm? Answers in the comments section below, guys. Is there any alterations? It look like it to me. Suppose it's got to be one of these guns, one of the arms. But I don't know my Aeon commanders well enough. It is. You can see it's on the right arm. So it's this thing. That's the bill. I don't know. It's on one of the arms. You have to be looking pretty carefully at it, that's for sure. Saucy little T2 drop. Successfully completed to the plateau section over here for Taffy. Team 1 really sensing they've got to get a win down here. Want to shut this area down. If they can capture the plateau, that makes conquest of the rest of this basin easier. But look at this attack that's underway in the center from Taffy, drifting westwards. Too shabby. T1 bombers brought to bear by Arane, but those bombs impact rather uselessly on that parashield's cover. Some halves brought out to combat this, do some damage, but I don't think it's going to stop it, although two more might get the job done. It's going to be the end of this attack before any damage is dealt to the main base. There are some vulnerable reactors in here. I think that's the best result Taffy could hope to achieve. On the mini-map, you can see the assault on those defensive structures that were under construction earlier is well underway, and they've been brushed aside, as has that attack from Taffy over in the west. I think this basin in the bottom right now is cooked for Bo. Bo, who's completed the stealth and has gone straight for the basic RAS upgrade. Is now marching up towards Gibbo, who can see all of him. Obviously, if he'd rolled up right next to a regular comm sensor suite, or the stealth, sorry, upgrade, it doesn't help you either. But with the enhanced sensors, the extra field of view, you can see that for X amount longer. Bo now taking some triad fire. There's a few units of PD up here actually. Had a bit of a point defense creep underway from Taffy on his way to securing this whole area, and I think they're doing a bang-up job of that now. Factories have been destroyed. One or two engineers left in the bottom right-hand corner. And the plateau is being dismantled completely. And that actually puts Team 1 in a better position in the bottom right-hand corner than Team 2 are in the top left. You can see the plateau on the other side of the field firmly under Mimic's control still. Tons and tons of flares on patrol. Shield upgrade on the way for Chicken. Already has 2 gun upgrades. Hydro might survive here. These Spectres can finish off the last of these strikers. Indeed they can, but they don't make it out alive. Taffy comes in with his Air Force to clean that up. Speaking of Air Forces, we went very Aeon heavy in this game, so everyone's taking advantage of the T2 Swiftwind fighters. We've got some 10 on the field down there for Zlo. Mimics on the other side has some ASFs and some Swiftwinds, so he's got 15 Swiftwinds, but crucially 7 air superiority fighters. Zlo is at T3. I think only recently at T3 started working on ASFs on that extended factory. HQ pumping out a couple of spy planes. T1 bombers working on a flyby and actually going after the tactical missile defense. Does that mean we've got some silos in wait, or was that just an attack of opportunity? No, there we go. There's the silo. That's good teamwork. Irani had the silo. Chicken got the bombing run done to clear the way. That's one down. One of the targets are there up here. That would have been another TMD, I think. You can see it's queued up for reconstruction. Points getting picked off. So what's that done to the eco side of things? Wow, Team 2 are comfortably ahead by over 100 mass now. Total mass accrued. Picture looking a bit grim for Team 1. Some 70,000 mass advantage for Team 2 so far. Total mass killed. Team 1 have done better. 67 to 56k. Probably been more to shoot out though. Team 2 faring better on eco, and Team 1 have done better on kill loss by a huge margin. It's 1.2 versus 0.6 in favour of Team 1. This is a big attack that's underway. Have Team 1 caught Bo here? There's a lot of Harbingers, that's a lot of firepower, and the Harbingers are covered by shield gens. Bo retreating here. The threat I thought was going to come from Gibbo and that sensor sweep, but actually Gibbo just got it done the old-fashioned way with some T2 and T3. Bo knows he's going down. He's not even bothering to retreat anymore. Caught up a little bit on the cliff edge, and down he goes. Team 1 even things up in player count at least. Some of the mass totals don't look so bad. Look at that, 450s apiece. I think that was a bit of power locking going on. Team 2 rebound to a 540 again. So it's still a 90 mass advantage for Team 2. A handful of Obsidians do make it into Bo's old base, now in the hands of Zlo. But major force movements underway for Chicken up in the northern edge of the map. quite a well-shielded skirmish set up. We've got a bunch of sniper bots in here. Chicken needs a breakthrough, or he needs to pull back because he's going to lose a lot of forces here otherwise. Looks like he's going for the breakthrough. Has he got the firepower to achieve it? We've got personal shield on the con. He's got 2 gun upgrades on the same arm. Have to bring in his com to assist. He's got some Percivals that he's produced, 4 of them, and they're going to make their way to that front. I think this comprehensive mobile shielding is going to be the difference maker here. See Chicken breaking through. He's going to lose a lot of units. He has got some decent punching power. There's a Mercy Strike once again. Used to great effect. That dot, that damage over time, and AoE. It's a mixture of both now. Adding it up with the sort of ordnance that the Aeon use in their artillery and the like. T1 engineers trying to erect some defences, or some more. I think they've got enough firepower here to push Chicken back. The Chicken's thinking better of it. I think this was the final clincher. The person was coming in from the east. Meanwhile, in the south, Gibbo on the move. Going up against some of Arane's forces. Arane, he's been sat in the middle with his com and hasn't moved the whole game. His left flank's been pretty well protected by Chicken, who again is launching probing attacks, but it's all low order spam now. He's got a couple of T2 units in, some flak. He's got the Dissolver to write home about. Oh, and there's the Mercy Strike. See that damage over time AoE. And is that our first experimental, I wonder? Built all the way back here, so it's going to be some time before he stomps his way to the front line. Percival's clearing up, but they're not going to pursue the com. But look at the difference now. Chicken with no force left. Maybe they are going to pursue the com. There's an opportunity here to break through and clean this out. Might not be a bad move, since the bottom right corner is now under aerial threat. Spectre gunships massacring those civilians. Not looking quite so rosy for Team 2. Still pretty darn solid on the eco side of things, 785 to 566. The territory is starting to shift up on this top left quadrant, although might be about to be shut down. GC finally making it to the front line. Laser facing commences. Harbingers getting incinerated, sucked up to oblivion, and not in a good way. Just a harp on each hand. Most bizarre of experimentals. A handful of those ground units for Mimics will make their way right up to the top left-hand corner to get on with finishing off all those mass points. Oh, and another little group down here also. Oh, that X was almost at T3. That's the most annoying. But still, the gap in eco continues to increase. Team 1 seemingly refusing to eco, or at least eco to the same level that Team 2 are going for. We're going to start to see the emergence of any new shiny toys. There's another GC underway. I can't see any artillery or anything like that under construction in the main base. Or any of the main bases for the Team 2 players. There's certainly nothing like that going on up here. We have got a Fat Boy under construction that's about to turn green as it crosses the 75% cooked threshold. Actually, though that air attack was successful, killed off all those mass points, it wasn't followed up by any kind of play for conquest. What's that? That's a GC completed by Gibbo that's moving up on Arane. Arane, I think, has finally recognized the danger. His comm is very, very close to it. He's actually suffering a royal power outage, which he's corrected just in the nick of time so that the shields don't fail. What he could really do with here is a T2 transport to help evac his comm before that GC gets in range. It's certainly clocked him. It's what he's going for. Arane running at top speed. You can't outrun a GC, and it's locked onto his backside. That indomitable laser face, and Arane goes down, and suddenly it's a 2v3. Team 2 find themselves a man down. Eco-wise, Team 1 still down a couple of hundred mass. Ugh. If they keep losing players like this, Eco might not matter. Two GCs meet face to face. Chickens was vastly better condition when that started. On top of it, also had gunship and siege tank pressure being applied. It's a big old confluence of units right now for Zlo. Just a massive fall off in presence for Team 1 down here on this bottom right hand corner, and that's allowed Zlo to amass all these forces and push them up towards the centre. Mimics has a decent force over here to the northwest. GC getting some love from Mimics Restorers. There's also long-range Fat Boy fire, which there's not much you can do about at the present time. Fighters tangle in the skies above the GC. Actually a great gauge for Mimics, or it wasn't initially, but it seems to have gone okay. Second half of the bout. GC down, but there's a second fresh GC entering the theatre from the southwest. Slow moving those forces up. Gibbo advanced down here, but he hasn't got a lot of firepower, and these bricks are just going to tear through this little collection of units. Shielding is all well and good, but look at that. Not even in a position to fire back. Has the bricks range been increased? This is in the comment section below. I will follow the patch notes as closely as I should, if that isn't immediately obvious. Eye on the top players that will watch my content. Fill me in on these little things when something has obviously changed, like the Mercy. I did actually hear people talking about the Mercy a few days ago, so it's nice to run across a replay that showcases those changes. See, rolling up on these Harbingers. Restorers at the moment roaming unchecked in this top left-hand corner. There is a force of their superiority fighters down here to Zlo, but he hasn't wanted to commit them as yet. It's probably a sensible decision. Mimics seems like he might have an advantage there with 27 fighters. Zlo with 22, modest advantage, but as Sun Tzu said, wait until there you go. And that's basically what he said, isn't it? Something like that. updated, personally. Updated for the modern man. Write the whole thing in about 8 pages. So Taffy has moved that Fat Boy into the center. It's got its own little collection of ground forces covering it. Suddenly there seems to have been a fall-off in troop production. Does that marry up with major expenditure going on down here? Like they've started any game enders or anything. It's just a... well, so we've got a nuke launcher down here. Slow working on a megalith. Kill-loss ratio has changed pretty dramatically, although Team 2 still faring pretty poorly. It's 8.5 to 0.5 to 0.8 in favour of Team 1. Air engagement kicking off in the top left. You can see why Slow was reluctant to get involved. Knew he was slightly behind. There was these group of Swiftwoods where they look like they're out of fuel. They are very slowly indeed. But ASFs managed to roast some of those restorers belonging to Slow. That's a nice little fire base we've got here, going toe-to-toe with the Fat Boy. Just sneaking the artillery ordnance past that little pillar. Firing very accurately, unfortunately. Fat Boy parking his big shiny backside right past the other side of that obscuring piece of terrain. Attack of opportunity over here from Zlo, tidying up factory and a mechs. Again, no commitment down here to properly make a play for it. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mass points to be had, 7 and 8 if you include all of these. So it's worth getting if you can. A little bit too much going on in the middle of the map for slow time inclination to make a play for it. GC fighting valiantly against tons of bricks. Soon the gunships, once they've tied up the flak, shedding hit points. Going out of style. Down to 25,000 hit points, plummeting fast. That would be another experimental going to its robot grave. Did manage to kill off a decent number of bricks though. Attack pings going down on the T3 mechs. Actually, the eco situation has improved for Team 1. Look at this, 886 for Team 2 and 807 for Team 1. They finally managed to claw their way back into the eco game. But not before too long. Look at that. Changes just when I'm looking at it. Some 40, 60, 50 to 60,000 mass advantage.
Strategic launch detected.
And there's our first nuke. We saw the silo a moment ago. Out from chicken, what's he targeting? Mimic says, oh well. Does that mean, by any chance, at 38 minutes you don't have strategic missile defense? Shame on you. Oh dear, so this is sounding suspiciously like they don't. There's no excuse! No excuse for that. Boom! There goes Mimic's air production facilities. Ouch. That is less than ideal. Almost at 40 minutes, you would have thought players like this... We never actually mentioned their ranking points, but I was less concerned about it than the global ranking. Ah, new idea, guys. I don't know if you can. I don't know if it's properly recorded, but if you're one of the devs working on the game, you have access to the Supreme Scoreboard mod. I want to be able to click this and toggle between ladder rankings and global rankings. That would be great. I don't know if that information is still stored. I would imagine. Thota versus GC over in the east. That's gone well for the GC. Stalls that little attack. But goodness me, if this doesn't look like a very different picture. Both corners completely devoid of life now. It seems like, in terms of ground forces and basic firepower, we have a lot in play for Team 2. Got there. Only 12 Harbingers. The rest is all kind of T3 mobile anti-air and the like. And they're not going to have to worry about air for much longer, I shouldn't think, after that nuke landing. But the ground-based firepower from the bricks is potentially something to worry about. No, again! Only 20 bricks. There's a lot of stuff here that's not that scary. The experimentals, now they can be scary. Crab and Colossus joining the party down there in the southeast. Fat Boys are great. We love a Fat Boy, but really need some solid GC presence, some tanking. We can get in there and take the fight to them. Mimics pulling in 361. I would have liked actually just to have clocked what he was pulling in before that nuke landed. Fall off is real in team totals because he's down to 718. Team 2 still climbing now at 933. There's a large number of Percys backed up by that Fat Boy over in the top left. Slightly deceptive. You could look at that and think, oh, is that a plateau that they could scale and then fire down from above? No, it's just more obstructive mountain ranges, cliff ranges, in the middle of nowhere. It's quite the hefty group of restorers that Slow has amassed. Will the Sean Bean of Guilecast emerge victorious today? Will he make it through? We don't see enough of that. That's for sure, but he's got 32 restorers. How's he doing on ASF numbers? He needs to win a big air fight. Now that he's destroyed those air production facilities, he's got 49 air superiority fighters. Mimics has... those are Swiftwinds. He's got 41, so it's pretty much neck and neck on fighter count. It's actually bothering me. Those Swiftwinds, it's like, build it. Oh, he's got air staging. Fill up your planes, man. No excuse for it. Do they have to be upgraded now? Shows how out of touch I am. Maybe they can't. Maybe they're only servicing interceptors. I thought they serviced all planes, but you never know. Changes. It's a constantly evolving game. Fat Boy and Percy's just floating back and forth. There's been a real lull
Strategic
in
launch
activity
detected.
since that nuke. There is nuke number 2. Neither team committing. Both have a little bit of a stalemate here. Will this open things up? Is he going for the front line or is he going for the plateau? It's the plateau he's going for. Again, no nuke defense up here either. Mimics. Oh, it's too slow. I would have actually seen it this time, but it's annoying alternating thing. It's like, no, I want it to stay on what I had it clicked on, thank you. Anyway, he's on 388 or 391. Only actually 2 mechs went down in that blast, so end of the world. Uh-oh. But they might be. Strat bombers queuing up back at Zlow's base in the bottom left-hand corner. Just waiting for a snipe opportunity. And a Novax heading in the opposite direction. This time it's Taffy building the standoff weapons. Have we got any kind of other standoff weapons over here? Yes, we do. A brand new Emissary, which has just been completed and is training its mighty tool on the opponents. Both teams going for some more standoff capabilities. Notifying pings going down on top of it. That might be Team 1 just alerting themselves to the threat. That is a hardy group of GCs out in front of Team 1's base. 4 versus 2, but we have got Fatty over here and a ton of Percys. Really do need to get in range and open up ASAP though. Down, surprisingly for Chicken. First one's about to go down with Gibbo. And it's a 2v1 situation. The Percys are coming in behind. I think this is going to be a rather flat encounter as far as encounters go. Emissary artillery sailing overhead, and that's going to fall on currently unshielded territory. Eesh. Only T2 shield gens in the base for Taffy. It's a whole new set of things to worry about. Indeed, all experimentals died. Quite a decent chunk of mass in the center there. Almost 100,000 mass waiting to be Scoopersund. That portion of the map just outside Team 1's base. Taffy frantically erecting shields. Satellite outside shield coverage. That looks like that might have found favor, and there it is. The initial hit and then the damage over time finishes it off. So Novak satellite threat neutralized. Be lying as a wreck somewhere down here for Team 2 to eat. Oh, and look at this. The breach up to the top of the screen from the Restorers. Mimic's doing his level best to shoot down some of those gunships, but there's far too many. And now the shield's gone around the commander. He is vulnerable. And that was actually a Control K, I think. Yes, it was. Knew he was going to die, but wanted to take out as many of those gunships as possible to help his teammates, but I think they're all killing themselves off now. I think that's done. Taffy about to go pop. GG's going out. Gibbo says thanks very much. As he's bathed in his teammates' nuclear fire. There he goes. 47 minutes on the nose, and Team 2 emerged victorious. I mean, they were ahead the entire game. At the end there, they were up some 300 mass per tick. And they never looked really like they were in danger of that going away. Team 1 just could not match their eco, and in the end, I think that first nuke that took out the air production facilities, that was what sealed their fate ultimately for that snipe. But even if it hadn't happened, it just would have been a longer, more drawn-out affair. They would have been bottled up, kettled, if you will, in this quadrant for more and more of the game, while Team 2 were able to just expand to the other corners, and that would have been it, I think. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to try and do one for the Patreon team now over on that. And if you want to go and catch that, guys, it's a mere $1 a month. Apologies, I did actually try to get one out for you guys yesterday on the Patreon side, but OBS crashed on me right at the end, so I've got to re-record everything I did yesterday. Imperfect technology. But yes, anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed it. Do consider the Patreon. As I say, mere $1 a month. And there's some 106 or 107 premium casts with no ads on them for your viewing pleasure. And you also get access to the Discord as well. So come and check that out, guys. Until next time, though, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.